Pillow Talk, a new series on this channel. Let me do some ASMR and let me teach you about the birds and the bees of fighting games. I actually want to do a follow-up to this video that I did recently about this misconception and this false narrative in the fighting game community that the first version of the video game that you play is always the worst. Which I proved in that last video is not true whatsoever, right? I mean, I don't think there's no reason to believe that that's true. But why would someone even believe that it's the worst version? And this actually gets into kind of like a psychological thing. And it gets into, I've talked about this in other videos too. When people ask me, Clayton, what is your favorite game that you've ever played? And I always say that I don't have a favorite game that I've ever played, because a lot of times which game you like just depends on where you are in your life at one time. Maybe you have more friends that are playing at some time. Maybe something just in your life. Maybe there's a song that you still remember or something like that. It brings up, it's like, man, I remember playing that game. I remember that time in my life, whatever it might be. And I've even talked about a lot of times there's no perfect game, because sometimes it's not just the game, it's the characters. Some games have like, wow, I really like how this character played in this game. This version of this character is my favorite version of the character, right? So you could even call this, maybe the title of this video could be why your favorite game is not necessarily the best game, or maybe why the best game is not maybe your favorite, whatever it might be. You know, another thing that people have to realize too, why do you think, think about this logically too for a second. Think about this actually logically. I know the video game community hates logic, right? You know they hate logic when I already see people in other comments are saying that I've said I hate Strive, which isn't true. I've made multiple videos saying why I like Strive even. You see people and other YouTubers, content creators, kill myself, dude. Listen to these fucking Looney Tunes trying to say I faked being sick, I faked all this stuff again. So you know these dudes are like on fucking suicide watch, anything to cancel me because they can't do anything without me, it seems. It's ridiculous. It sounds stupid even me saying it, but when you look it up, it's fucking true. It's like, I don't know, but think about this logically though for a second. Why, even though it's easily provable that there's no reason whatsoever to believe that the first version of a game is always the worst, why do you think psychologically people actually lie to themselves? Well, think about it. When you are at the end span of the series that you played, it could be Street Fighter 2 to the end of Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter Alpha's iffy because so many Street Fighter Alpha games are different anyway, are very different from each other. The Alpha series specifically. Think about a game like the Street Fighter 3 series. Think about old school Guilty Gears, whatever it might be. That generation of games, whatever it might be, the generation of Street Fighter 2, 3-4 years, the generation of Alphas, whatever, the generation of Street Fighter 3, another 4 years, whatever it might be, the generation of Street Fighter 5 is going to be, there's going to be some people that are like, man, I miss Street Fighter 5 even. Just like people are going to be like, oh, I miss the Street Fighter 4 days, whatever, blah, blah, blah. People feel this way because that represented the end of a part of their life often, right? Did you realize that? There's no reason to really believe that necessarily the last version of the game is always the best. But it's the last part of your life with that game. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you will never have, that game is over. That time of your life is over. It will never have more people playing it, most likely at least. We'll never have more people. Some people like XR. You know, I saw some guy trying to say, oh, Clayton buys all these games. Do people remember that I didn't buy that last XR? I think I don't have that. I saw some guy trying to make up something like, Clayton talks shit about all these games, which again isn't true. And then he's trying to say that I even buy them all, which is, can you show me the games at my house? I don't fucking have them, but mental illness. But when you are at the end of the lifespan in this generation of the game, that's also a part of your life that is now over as you're getting older. You might have a group of friends that you guys will slowly drift apart. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, I think it's actually pretty obvious psychologically if you just think about it. It's like, again, there's no reason to believe that this is always the best game. But you know what? Sometimes the human mind remembers the last thing fondly, right? It's like, wow, I remember Street Fighter 2, and maybe you remember Super Turbo. It's like, wow, man, that was the last time. Was Super Turbo the best? You know, some people do say Super Turbo is the best. And of course, there's some people that say that Hyper Fighting is the best, right? So is there actually a, you know, necessarily, is it concrete that the last version is always the best? Of course there isn't, right? But some people remember Hyper Fighting the most fondly, right? Because like, man, that was the last best Street Fighter 2. That was the last best part of my life. Or Super Turbo was like, oh, what a great time. Street Fighter was never the same again. Is Street Fighter 2 necessarily the best fighting game ever? Some people think Street Fighter 3 is the best fighting game ever. Some people, you know, it's fucking ridiculous. Look how many fucking people played it. Street Fighter 3 is a fucking, you know, I'm not saying I hate Street Fighter 3. It's not my game. I can watch Street Fighter 3 as a novelty game, but, you know, some people are like, it's the greatest fucking game of all time, right? And they'll just remember Street Fighter because it's the last time that's the last version of the game that you have in your heart and your life with your friends often, right? So again, there's that, and there's always this idea that some people try to say that people are afraid of what's new. Oh, this new game is going to suck. Oh, the Street Fighter 2 people didn't want to play Street Fighter 3. Street Fighter 3 people didn't want to play Street Like, 4 didn't try like, oh, this game's going to suck. My game is this, blah, 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 blah. You know, these aren't actually intelligent conversations, right? You know, when people ask or wonder, how are you able to predict games? Which, you know, I saw some more content where if people think they can predict games, that's not true. People don't do that. Jesus Christ, man! How the fuck do I keep doing that? I don't even fucking. I'm predicting games without ever even playing them. I guess I'm just getting lucky, but what do I know? When people are saying that, that's like a lot of emotion, and I've said this before. Because I don't necessarily have a favorite fighting game of all time, I just kind of appreciate the games for what they are. Which, of course, you know, people try to say like, "Oh, he hates everything," which is again not true, but. I look at the game as a whole. I look at the whole thing. There's no necessarily, oh, that is the best memory ever. That's the best game ever. I look at the whole game itself, right? So a lot of people, again, people aren't ready to have an intelligent conversation about a game. They only feel the excitement. They only have that like passion. They can't think about something logically, right? So of course, I guess there is some truth there. Like, oh, people say that like, oh, this new game is the worst. My old game is the best. And yeah, people do say that, but the people that say that aren't the people you should be listening to. These aren't the people that you're going to get a intelligent conversation about a video game out of. Okay, does that make sense? So people do say that, but these aren't the people that know what they're really talking about. Does that get sense? This is the birds and the bees. Come sit next to Daddy Clayton. I'm getting old enough. I technically probably could have a kid by now. Thankfully, I don't. I think I don't. I'm pretty sure I don't. But again, you know, that's why I said when people say, "What's your favorite game?" I don't have a favorite game. I just look at each game and I'm like, man, I really like that part in that game. I really like that character. That version of that character is really cool in that game, blah, blah, blah. And I think a lot of other people actually, if they actually think about it, that's how they feel about it too. But they're too blinded by emotions, whatever, blinded by, they need to bust a nut. They need to get it out of their system to think about something logically. They need a life. Again, I mean, even this like look at the fucking, what's it called, man? Fucking, what's this game called again? I forget this shit. I can't keep up with all the fucking people that hate me, sorry. The fucking plus R or whatever it is. You see these people, all the same people that still hated me, even think about that. Don't you think you see it's like, man, that is a part of their life. The fact that people hate me for so many years even is more proof of that too. They've never moved on. They think that game is the best game. And they're so angry by that, like, man, when the game was at its biggest, when so many people were playing it, or I was young. Oh my, I mean, look at that. Jesus Christ. Don't get old, dude. That's why I say, like, man, one of the biggest mistakes I made is like, you know, Jesus Christ, man. I guess hindsight is 20/20. Who knows what my life would have been like if I didn't get sick, right? But, you know, I wish I would have done, you know, it's one of those things sometimes I get mad at myself. Should I have done more when I was younger? But no one expects to get sick and be dying in a hospital, whatever. But the point is, it was a long time ago when I was young. And a lot of times you think about, man, these other people were playing video games when they were young, and maybe that's all they had. They only have video games. And now Plus R has online again. They're like, did I tell you Plus R is the greatest video game of all time? Can you tell me why it is? Well, I mean, I could tell you why. It's probably not actually, there's no real logic behind it. The only reason they say is because, man, it's like a time in their life that they still fondly remember. Right? Did you get what I'm saying? There's not a lot of logic behind what these people say. Hopefully you get what I'm getting at, right? I feel like it's such an easy thing, but these aren't the kind of videos, those aren't the kind of opinions that, people want to clickbait. Everyone's like, oh, I'm going to shield this, and then I'm like, oh, I'm saying, oh, I should. No, I knew the game sucked all along. Then why were you showing it? If all the first versions of the game sucked, then why have you been showing it this whole time? This makes no sense. There's also no proof that every first version of the game sucks. Like all this stuff, like very clouded judgment arguments that make no sense if you actually think about it, dude. Doing the happy rainbow. I also saw more people trying to say Clayton hates transgender people again. I didn't know. I can't keep up with all this shit. I can't keep up with all the shit I hear about myself, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. Apparently I hate transgender people again. I didn't know. Thank you for letting me know. I forgot that I did. I thought there was a week where I didn't see it. I saw it again. Thanks for reminding me. I didn't realize I did. Anyway, point is, that's why I'm able to do the things I can in games, because I don't have these kinds of weird emotions. I don't look at something like, oh, blah, 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 oh. I'm like, I actually look at the game and I'm like, okay, I can see this. I'm looking at it more logically, even keel, from like a more nuanced, I don't know, more methodical, I don't know, more not like, no, there's no blinders on. I'm looking at the game for what it is, right? I mean, there's no passion there for me to like misjudge a game. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Remember, if you like these videos, like, subscribe, comment, the end.